So, you're 9 years old. You're too smart for your age. You hate other kids. You're obsessed with fractions. You think Athena would roast Aphrodite in a street fight. Oh, and you're white, living in Zambia, surrounded by people who call you Muzungu, and you have no idea what that means. Sounds like the beginning of a horror movie, right? Nope, it's just a regular day in the life of Isabella, or Issa for short. The precocious, lonely, mirror-checking, nose-poking, goddess-ranking heroine of a story that's so quietly brilliant, it doesn't even need a punchline. Let's dive into Namwali Serpell's very first published story, Muzungu. Now, Issa is the only child of Sybilla and Colonel Corsali, the type of parents who throw a lot of parties but forgot to RSVP to their own child's emotional needs. Dad, drunk, like Olympic-level drunk. Mom, busy serving wine and charming party guests like it's her full-time job. Meanwhile, Issa's kind of floating, observing, trying to make sense of it all. And this girl, she's not your average 9-year-old, no Barbie dolls, no playing tag. She's deep into intellectual stuff. She says things like Athena's better than Aphrodite. She prefers talking to adults. And yes, she loves fractions. No, I don't get it either. But hey, some kids are built different. Issa is stuck in this in-between world. Too smart for her peers. Too young to be taken seriously by adults. And racially, she's in another strange zone. She's white, in Zambia, but not quite belonging anywhere. Not even at home. She's not allowed to play with the servants' children, even though Chanda, one of them, is about her age. And she can't stand the kids of her parents' friends either. They cry too easily, they act too silly, and to Issa, they're basically aliens in sneakers. She's alone.
Forget that.
Now one day, Issa sneaks off and follows Chanda to the servants' quarters. Big move. It's there that one of the relatives of the servants casually calls her Muzungu. Cue dramatic 9-year-old panic. Issa runs to her father. You know, the one who drinks from the same football-themed glass all day long, gradually turning it into a disgusting science project. And here's how Serpell describes that very glass.
The colonel liked to drink from the same glass the entire day, always his favorite glass, decorated with the red, white, and green hexagons of a football. As his drunkenness progressed, the glass got misty from being so close to his open mouth, then slimy as his saliva glands loosened, then muddy as dirt and sweat mixed on his hand. At the end of the evening, when Issa was sent to fetch her father's glass, she often found it beneath his chair under a swarm of giddy ants, the football spattered like it had been used for a rainy day match.
Yeah, that's the man she runs to for help. But he's too drunk to give a real answer. No clarity, no comfort, just alcohol fumes and saliva. And so Issa is left alone again, with a word she doesn't understand, in a place where she doesn't quite fit, and with no adult to explain anything.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
Beyond the whole Muzungu moment, Issa is also just trying to be okay with her face, her 9-year-old face, which she is already suspicious of. She looks into the mirror, a lot, and here's one of her most relatable moments.
She checked her face for hair, an endless, inevitable paranoia, and with a cruel finger pushed the tip of her nose up. She felt it hung too close to her upper lip.
Listen, if you didn't do weird stuff to your face in the mirror as a kid, were you even a kid? But here, Serpell uses this moment to show us something deeper. Issa is growing, not quite a teen, but not a little girl either. She's insecure, she's curious, she's trying to understand who she is, not just racially, but physically. She's afraid of becoming like her mother, specifically inheriting her mother's hairiness. It's not just about looks, it's about identity. What makes Issa so compelling is her acute awareness of everything, yet her inability to change any of it. She sees the way adults behave. She sees the divide between her life and that of Chanda's family. She sees the stark difference in food, language, dressing, everything. The families may live on the same compound, but it's two completely different worlds. And Issa is the ghost caught in the middle, a Muzungu, a ghost person, foreign, isolated, strange. Even the title itself, Muzungu, becomes a metaphor for this sense of displacement. Issa doesn't just live in Zambia, she haunts it. She's present but invisible, observing but not included.
I like being alone.
Okay, so now, Here's the kicker. All this time, you've been watching a story unfold through the eyes of a 9-year-old girl who can't understand why everyone calls her Muzungu. And now you know, that's the title of the story, Muzungu, a word that means white person, but also hints at ghostliness, otherness, a haunting presence. And Serpell knew exactly what she was doing when she gave the story that name. Because Issa isn't just racially different. She's emotionally and socially cut off too. From her parents, from the kids, from her environment, from herself. And Serpell captures all of this with razor-sharp prose, hardly using any dialogue. Instead, she leans on detailed narration, letting us smell the Colonel's sweat, taste the bitterness of Issa's isolation, feel the sun-baked compound where two worlds quietly coexist. And the writing? Whew! Clean, controlled, no fluff, just beauty. As I said earlier, Serpell avoids the classic trap of making the smart kid into a miniature Einstein. Issa's intelligence is quirky, but realistic. Her emotional landscape is complicated, but never overplayed. It's rare to see a child protagonist portrayed with this level of depth without leaning on stereotypes or sentimental fluff. And Issa's perspective, it's sharp, honest, sometimes funny, sometimes a little heartbreaking. Now let's talk themes. First up, race and identity. This one's obvious. The title tells us everything. Issa's whiteness separates her, but more than that, the story shows how colonial remnants still shape domestic life in subtle, painful ways. Two families, one white, one black, share the same space but live in entirely different universes. Next, childhood isolation. Issa's alone, not by choice, but by design. Her parents are emotionally unavailable. She's not allowed to mix with the servants' kids. And the other children? They're not her vibe. Third, coming of age. Issa's just starting to notice things. Her body, her face, her place in the world. There's a tenderness in the way Serpell handles this, without ever crossing into melodrama. Fourth, language and silence. There's very little dialogue in the story. And that silence? It speaks volumes. It's Issa's silence. The silence of a house where the adults are too busy or too drunk to listen. The silence of growing up between cultures. Bottom line, Namwali Serpell didn't just write a story. She wrote a mood, a moment, a quiet ache. And in my opinion, Muzungu should have taken the Kane Prize that year. But hey, art isn't a competition, unless I'm the judge, in which case Issa wins, and Athena still beats Aphrodite. Namwali Serpell was born in Zambia and moved to the United States in 1989. Muzungu was her debut published story, and what a debut. It was featured in Callaloo, the Best American Short Stories 2009, and later shortlisted for the Kane Prize for African Writing in 2010. Since then, Serpell has continued to do amazing work. Her debut novel Furrow tells the story of a woman who loses her younger brother as a child, and meets a man who looks exactly like him as an adult. Let's just say, trauma and illusion do a very dramatic dance. She was working on a multi-generational novel, Breaking, about 3 Zambian families, black, white, and brown, over the last century. In 2011, she received the Rona Jaffe Foundation Writers Award, and she currently teaches English at the University of California, Berkeley, a professor, a literary force, and an author you definitely want to keep your eye on.
I'm side-eyeing you so hard right now.
So that's it, Muzungu. A story about ghosts, but not the spooky kind. The kind that stares back at you from the mirror. The kind that lives in between identities, between ages, between cultures. If you haven't read it, go read it, twice. And if you enjoyed this review, you know what to do, like share, subscribe. Leave a comment below telling me your favorite fictional child who's way too smart for their own good. Until next time, this has been GMBookshop, where we don't just read stories, we haunt them. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in diving deeper into this book, I've left some links down in the description. You can use it to grab yourself a copy and keep the adventure going. And if you're in the mood for more great reads, don't go just yet. Click on one of the videos popping up right now that I think you'll love. And don't forget to give this review a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more. Every bit of support helps us grow this little community of book lovers. See you in the next one.